Hi everyone, welcome to this short webinar on how to ace case questions in CBAP certification exam. My name is Ellen Mishra. I'm accompanied by my colleague Victoria Cupid. So now let's start. Quick introduction about myself. I am a principal trainer at Adaptive US. I'm a CBAP as well, and I have been assisting many professionals to get CBAP certification in last 10 years plus time frame. So Victoria, up to you.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you for being here and congratulations for taking this journey. And this is an important step. And now about myself, very, very quickly. I am, as you already have heard my name, I'm Victoria Kupets, and I am from Romania, which is Eastern Europe. And I'm so happy to be able to be with you today and with Adaptive for already 3 years, almost 3 years now. So I am a coach, I am a trainer, I'm a mother. I have many hats, and today I will do my best to wear the hat of coach and trainer and to explain to you what are the challenges and tips and tricks on how to ace CBAP exam from the first attempt. So today's agenda is very, very simple. First of all, I will explain to you what are the types in business in CBAP exam and specifically the difference to the CBA exam. They're overlapping, like similarities, but also the differences. And then we will discuss about common case study or case type questions. So they're like simple scenario-based questions and longer scenario questions, or we call them case study or case type questions. So when you see the term case next to study or type or something, that means like long scenario. Then we will discuss about how to answer this kind of questions, because there is a technique to that. And of course, at the end, we will have useful resources and Q&A. Speaking about Q&A, we are having, myself and Ellen, the chat open so we can see if a question that you ask is relevant to a particular slide. We might answer immediately, but then anyway, if time permits, we will have an official Q&A session at the end. So we have a surprise, so stay tuned until the end and you will see what kind of bonus or benefit you will receive, but that will be at the end. So first of all, hi everybody, once again, and let's have a bit of engagement. Please write in the chat. What is your current state? Where are you located on this journey of the certification journey? And please type in the chat just a letter A, if you considering getting certified. That means you are not in the middle of the certification preparation, you are just considering. So that's option number A. If you already started your preparation process, that's letter B, okay? B means I know I want it. I already put my hands on some study materials, or I'm already enrolled in a program, or I finalized the program, but I'm not, I have not been yet certified, okay? C is for those of you who did already the certification, but for some reasons were not successful in the first attempt. Okay, so that's the C, letter C. And D is if you're already certified. Okay, I don't know why you are here if you're already certified, but I can see some of you are. Yeah, so if you are certified, let us know why you are here. Okay, so I see A's, a few A's, okay, a few B's. If you are a C, that's okay. That's okay, because this type of exam, it's not the easiest one, and you need strategy, and you may learn the BABOK by heart and still not pass the exam from first attempt. And this is not because you were not hard working and hard studying. This is because you are lacking tips and tricks. You are lacking maybe strategy. And our role, myself and Ellen today, is to explain to you what would be the best approach. Okay, it's all about approach. The exam itself, it's an experience. Yeah, many people are very, very smart. They have all the knowledge, but when they sit in front of a computer and the timer for the exam starts, they start panicking. Yeah, they start losing their focus. They don't know how to deal with the complexity, even if the theory is here. Okay, so what our role is to say, okay, guys, you are prepared. Maybe you studied a few times BABOK, maybe you've enrolled in many, many programs, but you still feel like you are not ready. Today's session is about explaining the complexity. Okay, we will not succeed in solving your problems today. Yeah, we have just 1 hour, but we will give you a taste of what to expect. Okay, Ellen, you can see so many people are A, B, C, and a few D's here.
It's interesting. In fact, I see some of them are past students as well. Like Mazdul is one of our student. He is planning to take the test very soon, and I'm hoping he will do well. It's okay. I think even if you have attended some of our past courses, you will still find it as a refresher session. So nothing to worry.
Yes, yes. And I'm seeing myself and I look very red. Guys, this is because the light. Yeah, I see Alan being a hue. I am a different hue. So this is just showing we are in different paths and the light from outside is different. Okay, so let's jump into what are kind of questions to expect. First of all, we will have many questions that have a situation. So if you were learning the theory by heart until now, that was losing time because this exam is not theoretical one compared to like ECBA. Yeah, ECBA is simple. It tests your knowledge, theoretical knowledge, so you can learn definitions by heart. You can learn many things by heart. But CBAP is for experts. Let's say experts. Yeah, even if you don't feel like being an expert, after you will get the certification, you will have this feeling like, okay, I'm an expert now. So the situation is more practical. Yeah, you will have a description of a context, and then you will need to choose the best answer that fits the context. And this is similar to CCBA. Yeah, when you have situations, only in CBAP, you will have short situations and long situations. Short will be just a scenario based question, 3 to 4 paragraphs. And long, the one that we call case type questions, will be the challenging ones. And this will be 4 to 6 paragraphs long. So you may need to scroll. Yeah, so here you may need to have a strategy on how to deal with these kind of questions. You may need to make notes. These questions, let's say, need to have a different strategy compared to shorter situations. Okay, so good news is that if in a short situation you have context, question, another context, another question, another context, another question. Here you have long description and then 3 to 4 questions on the same case. Okay, so you read it once, then you answer the question, and then the case is still the same, the question changes, and then a few times this repeats. So this is, I think it's a good thing from time management perspective. Okay, so what kind of questions you can expect on these long type questions? So today's session is about these case type questions, okay? Not the simple scenario ones, but specific, specific. So there are two types: numerical type of calculations and diagrams. And Ellen will be walking you through 2 examples. Yeah, one example on numerical, like a case, and one example for diagrams. So here, what does it mean, numericals? In BABOK, there are different formulas. Yeah, and you need to know those formulas, not only to recognize a formula, but also how to calculate. Yeah, so today's session is about those formulas. And diagrams. When you see a diagram, you need to be able to read it. Yeah, you need to be able to understand what's in it. Yeah, not only to recognize this is a use case diagram, this is flowchart diagram, or DFD, data flow diagram. but you need to read it, you need to understand it. Okay, so these are the two types of questions you may expect on these longer cases. Okay, since the exam has a combination between short situation and this longer situations, case-based questions, expect to have 30-40 questions, this kind of longer complexity. Yeah, so out of 120 questions, yeah, 40 will be long complex questions and the rest will be shorter. And because you have 1 hour 3 hours sorry 3.5 hours, your concentration will go down with time, your energy will go down with time. This is normal. We get tired even if we do nothing and watch Netflix. Yeah, but this is effort. So here the most complex questions will be at the very beginning. Okay, at the very beginning of the exam, you will have these difficult questions. They're difficult, but they're doable. They're more difficult compared to the rest of the questions. Okay, everything in the exam is doable. If so many professionals were successful, you will be successful as well. Okay, so what you can do, depending on how easily you are scared, then you can have two approaches. If you know that the first thing you will see will be higher complexity, you can hit the fence by saying, I want to see hard questions first, knowing that the more we go, the easier it will be. But if you're easily scared, just skip the first 30-40 questions and do the easier one first, and then come back to the more complex ones. Advantages are in both. Yeah, advantage when you do the most complex first is because you are more relaxed. Let's say nobody's relaxed during the exam, but let's say you are less relaxed than in the middle or at the end of the exam. Actually, at the end of the exam, everybody is like, whew. Yeah, but so you can start with the first question being the hard one, and then if you are totally scared about it, then you can say to yourself, I don't need to do it now, I can come back later. Okay, so you can always mark for follow-up, go to the next question, and then you will come back to it. You don't need to stay on and answer all the questions in the moment. Yeah, if you prefer to skip, then you need to be very careful to have time to come back. Okay, you need to be very careful about time management. So go ahead and write in the chat, are you the easily scared type of person, or you know, like, no, I want to do the most complex question in the first attempt, and then the more I go, they will be easier and easier. So go ahead and write in the chat this. Whatever approach works for you, that's your best approach. Okay, nobody knows you better than you do. So these questions require time. Yeah, all the questions require time, but these ones require more time because you really need to read everything, and you might need to read several times. That's okay. That's okay. Come back. I mean, you read it maybe initially, you don't really understand. Come back and read it once again. Come back and read it third time. Like, read as many times as you need, but be aware about the time. Good news is there is no negative marking. That already means that statistically, or probability is that there is 25 probability to guess any correct answer, but we are not going with synchronicities and probabilities. We really need to think, but just know that there is no negative marking. Okay, so try to cover in the first 2 hours all the scenario-based questions. so that you will have the rest 1.5 hour, 90 minutes for case study based questions. So if you're starting with first question being the hardest one, then you kind of have your time slowly progressing. But if you prefer to skip, to skip and then come back, just know that you'll have at least 2 hours for the easier questions. They're not easy, but they're easier versus more complex questions. Okay. And it is doable. It is doable. Many people, when they have this strategy that we are teaching to you today, they take the exam in less than amount of time that is allocated. So you don't really need to use all the time. If you finish with your exam earlier, just that's okay. It's okay to finish earlier if you feel confident. But statistically, people finish between 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So practice make it perfect. You need to practice and practice all kind of questions. Practice the easier scenario-based questions. Practice the longer, the case study-based questions. During the exam, we need to use our muscle, our brain muscle that reads fast, thinks fast, responds fast. Okay? So this is a muscle as any muscle, and it needs to be trained, because usually when we read something on social media, on the job and so on, we don't have a timer, and we are not stressed. So we are not we don't need to read very quick, understand quick, and there is no risk. In the exam, if you misinterpret a question, if you understand in a differently that it is, there is a risk that you will choose a different answer than the one that is supposed to be. So you need to practice reading fast, and not any literature, but means read, like purchase a simulator, practice with questions, practice the way of thinking, practice recognizing patterns, because there are patterns in questions. There are things that people who wrote the question expect from you. And by preparing yourself smartly, by practicing, you gain this understanding of what the author of the question actually wants from you. Okay? Give me a yes in the chat if you understand the value and importance of practice. Not just learning theory, practicing answering questions. So scenario-based question, quick, a paragraph or two, actually a paragraph with a few sentences, question, answer, and then longer ones. And longer ones, you need a different strategy. Okay? So what is in a case? In a case is a lot of information. Not everything is crucial or vital. So read it until you see the last paragraph. And in the last paragraph, usually you will see the question, but also sometimes kind of in the last part, there is also the hidden answer. But that doesn't mean that you need to disregard everything else. Okay? So you need to read everything with an open mind, because maybe there is a clue, maybe there is a hidden key somewhere. But the most, like statistically speaking, the most full of content is the last part. Because the beginning is kind of like intro, explaining to you the situation, and then the problem is at the end. Okay? Read with the strategy in the mind. Some people prefer to read the last paragraph first and then read the entire case. If this is you, use this approach. Try it. If it doesn't work to you, find your own way, find your own strategy. Okay? So before we go into some examples already, I can give you some tips about time management. So start with any question you wish. First of all, before you start the exam, make sure that you are relaxed. Okay? Relax means that you are breathing normally, not hyperventilating yourself, not being afraid of failure. Because if you're afraid of failure, your brain is already programmed. Like you cannot do it, you cannot do it, you will fail, you will fail. We don't need this. Okay, this should be out. You can talk to yourself badly every day, but not during the exam. Okay, and so when you start, you need to make sure that you are calm and start with the first question. If you read the question independently, if it's like first, second one, and it feels like you don't know anything, that's okay. You should say to yourself, that's okay. That's okay. If you don't understand the question, you say yourself, it's okay. I don't need to know all the questions. I don't need to hit 100%. I'm allowed to miss a few questions. Okay. So if you miss a few questions, you will still be successful. Just don't miss half of them. Okay. Don't miss the entire exam. Okay. So just think like this. It's okay not to know, and then move and mark for follow-up and go, mark for follow-up and go. If you have this strategy, then you will be more relaxed. Then you will be able to think. When we are stressed, we are not able to think. Okay, that's how our brain works. When we are stressed, we have this fight response or run. Yeah, and we don't want to fight with anybody during the exam, and we definitely don't want to run. So it is okay to mark for follow-up, and it is okay not to know from the first attempt, especially if we are stressed. Yeah, and yes, Jim, I can see you mentioned brain dump. Yes, brain dump is such a good technique. So you will be allowed to have a plain paper, yeah, and you are not allowed to have anything written on the paper. So prepare a paper prior to the exam, kind of like cheat sheet for you, all the formulas, all the acronyms that you feel you need, all the information that you may be afraid of forgetting. Have that one pager, memorize it before the exam, review it. Then when you are starting the timer and you will have your paper, just do the brain dump. Put everything you still remember on that paper, because if you will become stressful, that will be blurry and you will not remember it. So thank you, Jim, for mentioning this. Yeah. So brain dump is really great for things that are very, very specific, like formulas. Yeah, formulas are important. Yeah, so this is what you have. And Ellen will have today a one pager on the formulas. So we will go now to our next part, formulas. The one that some people love, some people hate. If you have your brain dumped with formulas, then and these are correct, then it's easy, because you just need to follow the logic that Alan will be presenting to you. It's like a waterfall. From one formula, you go to another formula, and so on. Otherwise, if one formula is wrong, then everything will be wrong. Okay, so Ellen, you can take over if you wish.
Yeah, thank you, Victoria. I think a couple of questions that I would like to answer before I get into the discussion. One is the role of memorization, especially in CBAP. All of you should remember, BABOK is a 500-page, densely written document. It's not easy to remember everything that is written in BABOK. It's humanly impossible. So don't go that path. That's a very dangerous path, and it's bound to have extreme hardship on you. So try to understand the concepts, so that helps you. Two, if you have prepared for about 100 hours, think that you have prepared enough. Because sometimes I see students who are preparing for years together. Like, I have heard cases when somebody has prepared for 5 years to take the test. And sometimes I wonder, why would you need 5 years of preparation to write a test? Maybe 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, I can understand. So please don't overcomplicate your own life. Understand in a nutshell what is BABOK about. make your own notes. That's kind of very helpful. So whenever I go for any examination, I prepare my own study notes. So whatever is complex for me, I write it down into a Word document and I refer it quite often. So that's the same thing that we did for our students. So we have a BABOK study notes, which is way simpler than BABOK. You can take a look at that. Now, coming to this numerical questions, especially BABOK has a lot of formula, which is very natural. And one of the areas where you see a good number of formula is the financial analysis technique. And this is a technique which has been used for generations, and it still holds good because in the past we had very large investments into IT. And whenever we think of a large investment into a product, program, project, we need to make sure that we make money out of it. And how do we calculate those numbers? So typically, any project that an organization is undertaking, it does invest initially in either developing the product or buying the product from someone. So that's what we call it as investment, and that's typically denoted by the letter I. Then, once we buy the product or we build the product, there is a cost involved in transitioning from the current system to the new system. That's very natural. So even if you were using one type of ERP, you're moving to another type of ERP, you were using a CRM system, now you have a better CRM system, but there is always a data migration. Hmm. Then that's what we call it as transition, moving from one system to another. And at the end of transition, typically we have a go live event where the system is going live. But once we go live, we still require money to sustain the product. It's not that we will leave it as it is and it will manage itself. It's unlikely. Stakeholders are going to ask for some changes. There may be bugs. There may be usual customer support. So all that, or we may have to pay license fees to somebody else from whom we purchase the product. So that's what we call it as cost of usage. That means this cost is incurred in order to use the product, and typically the company will pay on a monthly basis or an yearly basis certain funds for that. And when you combine all these costs, you come up with a number called total cost of ownership, which you might have heard it as an acronym called TCO. So that's TCO. Then obviously, any investment we make, we expect benefits. That's why we are investing. And you could calculate the benefits on an yearly basis and add it up for the year number of years that you are considering. Then you have a formula called return on investment, which is net benefit into 100 by cost of change. So net benefit is typically calculated by the total benefits that you're expecting minus total cost of ownership. Then somebody asked, are these formulas very difficult to remember? Not. But still, sometimes people struggle with these formulas because these are not something that we do in a day to day basis. So, what we have done is we have created a BABOK formula book, which is available on our website free of cost. You can go ahead and download that formula book, and maybe you can use that as a brain dump. So at least all the formulas that is there in BABOK, you have it available with you. There are a few more formulas which I'm not able to cover today because I don't have enough time. But the formula book has all the formulas. So based on this formula that we discussed, let's take a very simple question. All of you can take, say, 30, 40 seconds to read this question. I know it's not enough time to practice, but please try reading it. And if you can suggest the answer, even if you are not able to suggest the answer, at least the way you would approach the problem. Okay, so I'll give you about 30 seconds to read and understand. Okay. So would anybody be able to at least suggest how do we handle this case? Not very sure if you are getting any clue. Okay. If not, then let me give you a bit of clue about how do we go about this. So as I said, our first attempt is to calculate net benefit, which will be the total cost and the total benefit. So, if you observe this particular company, it was selling a certain number of units before it had the system in place. Now it is planning to have a system in place, and because of the new system coming in, it is expecting a 50% increase in the sale volume. So that's what contributes to the extra revenue that you are going to generate from the project. Okay, so that's how we say, okay, we are going to sell 100 more units of car every month. And how much money do we make per unit of sale? The case says that you get $200 fixed fee, plus you get a 10% commission on the car value. And these are old cars. So you typically sell them at about $8,000. So you get $800 as commission. It's an average value because each car can sell at a slightly different price, but we can't get into that level of detailing. This is good enough information to estimate. So we get about $1,000 per car and we are able to sell 100 units more. So that makes it $0.1 million of extra sale per month. That makes it $1.2 million sale in a year. And we are taking a 5-year period in which we are trying to compute the value. So that makes it 6 million. Okay. So there are other questions associated with this as well, like how do you calculate ROI, net benefit, all that calculation you can do using the formula that I showed just now. So that's one type of question that you can get in a numerical type of situation.
Ellen, before we change, maybe we can discuss a bit of challenges, what challenges can be here. Yeah, in this type like formulas. For instance, this one is additional benefit because we try to sell more. Yeah, but other types of question will be for savings. Yeah.
True,
So in those type of question, additional benefit actually doesn't really say like it's a benefit, but the fact that we're saving some money, yeah, that we can say it's a benefit. Yeah. So what you can expect in this kind of questions is a bit of current state, what is current costs, or current numbers. For instance, how many units? Yeah, that's
true,
like now. So be careful when you scan this, make notes, of course, yeah, on that paper, like how many units I do have now, or what are the costs now, and then be careful about what is the change. Yeah, like, okay, what's the new number? Yeah, and it can be like here increased by 50%, for instance. So it can be a percentage, or it can be a flat number, or it can be something. So you see it says additional benefit. So basically you need to subtract from the new value, the to be, current value, the as is, and the difference is additional benefit.
true.
Okay.
So I think we should remember there is an as is scenario where we are operating today. And because of the change, we will be in a to be scenario. That's our future situation. And as Victoria said, here we, of course, have a very clear revenue impact, but sometimes it could be cost impact. Like you are able to save cost for the company, or you are able to increase brand perception, could be anything. Benefits are both numerical and non numerical, whereas mostly in these cases, we are focusing more on numerical because that's a hard number. So management will not dispute. And of course, they may ask you questions like, will you really be able to get 50% extra sales? That's an assumption that we're making. And if most of the business stakeholders feel, no, 50% is pretty acceptable, no worries. And they may even say we may go up to 100%. So that's something is a separate kind of analysis, which is called what if analysis. But that's a second level of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then we go to the next type of question, which is the diagram kind of question. And BABOK is full of diagrams. You must have seen plenty of diagrams. And as business analysts, we love diagramming. And I believe diagramming makes a lot of things much easier for us to understand, for our stakeholders also to understand. So again, here is a very simple case in front of you. Um, Please read it up, and then I will show you the question. Uh, Gisela, typically a question will take about 2 minutes to read thoroughly. Here in the demo session, I haven't given you a full scenario because that might take time. And sometimes it may be 3, 4 paragraphs. Sometimes we have heard it goes up to 6 paragraphs as well. So in that case, it's a little longer question. Okay, just to give you a brief about this company, it's an IT services company with about 20,000 professionals on board, of which there are about 1,000 business analysts and 200 are lead business analysts. So obviously, the company does a lot of projects and it needs a system which will manage the requirements for the company. And let's take a look at the state diagram created by the business analyst and see if this state diagram, using the state diagram, you can actually answer the questions here. Like question number 1, um, do you believe that a requirement in reviewed state can actually be cancelled? You can put yes or no in your chat box. Okay. Anyone?
Let's do the following. Everybody type something. If you are correct, congrats.
Yeah.
If you are not correct, that's a learning experience. And by the way, when you are studying, you are allowed to make mistakes. This means you are really studying something new. Yeah.
Okay.
And look how many yeses are here.
Yeah, I think most of you have said yes, which is actually right. Because if you observe here, the cancellation activity can happen on any of the states, and from there we can go to the cancelled state. Okay, I'm glad you interpreted the diagram correctly. Um, and there are many types of diagrams, as I said before. I think the most complex diagram, what I have encountered, is the diagram or class diagram. That's what created trouble for me because I did not come from a software development background. So I started my BA career as a ERP analyst. Some of you might be coming from that background as well. And in our world, we are slightly different type of BA. But over a period of time, of course, I have used these techniques to develop our own solutions at Adaptive. And I love these diagrams because a lot of times it's so much easier to express our thoughts using diagrams than trying to write it down textually. Okay, then let me go next and see. Okay, so I think, is there any question that you guys would like to ask based on the two simple cases that we tried? Then I can hand it over to again back to Victoria.
Mm-hmm. So while we are waiting for questions, guys, ask us anything. We are not doing many lives, so this is unique opportunity. Speaking about what we just saw, the diagrams. What other types of diagrams, Ellen, you expect to see in the exam?
There we see SIPOC sometimes, value stream mapping sometimes. Then we see class diagram. That's, I think, a very common type of diagram. You may see activity diagram um, again. So that's something we have to look at. I think one of them is asking what is the answer for the second question. Can a cancelled requirement be reopened? How many of you say it can be reopened? Anybody saying it can be reopened? No? Okay. Observe the arrow, from which direction it is flowing. So if the arrow has a clear point, then you understand that it's the flow in this way. If we do not give an arrow indicator, that means we are open to communicate on both sides or move on both sides. But here we do not give any back arrow. That means once you have come to the inactive requirement state, you cannot come back to active requirement state as per this diagram. So, okay, please answer as per the diagram. In your company, things can be different. I'm not saying that you never can have a cancel to reopen, but that's a situation that the company decides whether they would like to have a backflow or not have a backflow. Okay.
And then actually, that's a very good point you just did. Guys, when you are doing the exam, forget about your real life, okay? Those who wrote the questions, they don't know about your project, they don't know about your
True.
organization, they don't know about your culture, nothing. So when you are in the exam, pretend you are on a planet, BABOK, and answer everything
True.
as
True.
per how it is written in BABOK, even if you don't
True. Very true.
even if you don't agree.
Yeah, yeah, true, true, true. Sometimes you may disagree with BABOK, possibly, but please do not color that your answering process. Be true to BABOK, especially during the test.
And we have some
Okay.
answers for question number 3, Ellen.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if you observe, the completed state is coming from in progress. That means we cannot take a reviewed requirement and just mark it as completed because we haven't worked on it. Um, so there is another interesting question I can ask you. If you can take a screenshot, and then find out 3 or 4 mistakes in the diagram. That will be a good exercise that you can take it up on your own. And I know there are mistakes because when I created this diagram long back, I did not know this very well. So I left those mistakes. But then I thought it's actually a good question to ask students, saying find mistakes that I made in the diagram.
So
So
it's
there
the
are 2, 3
homework.
mistakes which you can definitely find.
Yeah, so everybody has a homework
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, good. I think maybe I will give it back to you, Victoria.
sure.
So I'll just take it. Yeah.
Hmm. So I was first of all seeing a question in the chat about the test centers, if you need to go to a physical test center or online. Actually, the safe scenario is online because not all the test centers are open. Okay. So if you want to go in person, you need to check if the listing of test centers in your area. So that's one question. Another is about simulators. Okay, there are many free simulators. There are many paid simulators. How do you know if the simulator is for you? So you can easily check. You put your hands on the simulator, you read it, and if you feel like it has a theoretical flavor, it's not for CBAP. If you see it being more scenario based, more in the context and more practical, then that is for you. Okay. Because I've seen scenario questions from Adaptive, and I've seen from other providers, and I can tell you that some are very much theoretical, and this is okay. This is suitable for ECBA level. Yeah, because the CBA level is theoretical. But if you are aiming for CBAP exam, you need CBAP style questions. What does mean CBAP style? Practical questions. Okay. Good. So, Ellen, are you back? Are you with me? Because I will be interviewing you about what kind of.
Yeah, yeah, I'm always there. I'm just kind of turning off my video so that we don't see 2 people at the same time. Go
Perfect.
ahead. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, Ellen, I'm working with, collaborating with many educational providers. I'm a freelancer and I'm working with Adaptive4, as I said already, almost 3 years. And I'm always amazed that always something new is added. Always something new is added. Sorry, I will go back here. To the programs, to as a like added benefit. Can you please explain what Adaptive is offering?
Okay. From a CBAP preparation perspective, we have three products. One we call self learning, which is completely by yourself. It does give you the complete content that we have in terms of study guide, question bank, everything that we have digitally. Then we have something called a guided learning, where large part of the content is covered by you, but you still have a provision to come and attend our tutorials, which are quarterly, not quarterly, half uh, bi-weekly tutorials, where you can ask questions to our faculty members. Then the third one is the most comprehensive one, which we call live instructor-led classes. There we deliver about 32 hours of live training on BABOK, aligned to CBAP and CCBA and ECBA. And then we also have success guarantee on that. So that's, I think, one of the very unique pieces. With us, you are completely at peace of mind. If you have followed our instructions, been thorough with our content, if something goes wrong, not once but twice, so two times we are willing to pay your retake fees, and it generally doesn't happen. But that's the case. And in the third thing, if there is any money left with us and you are not successful with us, we will pay you that money back. So we don't earn a dollar if you are not successful. That's how the business model works. Our sessions are guaranteed to run, and we haven't canceled any session in last 3 years. And we have had a great journey with IIBA certifications. I think we crossed 1,500 certifications this month. And hopefully by the year end, we would be having close to 2,000 IIBA certified professionals. That's our target.
Wow, to be honest, I'm kind of impressed by all
It
giving
is. It
money
is.
back.
Yeah, it's a big achievement for any team, I would say, and that is possible because as an organization, the only thing that we do, the only training that we do is from IIBA. We do not do any Scrum training or any PMP training. I'm not saying that they are not valuable, just that we want to be super focused on what we do and do it very well.
Yes, and to be honest, when you are hyper specialized, you are good in that. Yeah, it's like laser focus. Okay, and this slide shows the faculty members. So I can see myself on this slide.
Yeah. Okay. I
And
think just
would you
yeah.
like to present other colleagues?
I will do. Okay. I trust many of you might have heard Laura Patton. She's a very popular trainer on LinkedIn as well. So she happens to be the chairperson for BABOK authoring team plus PMI PBA authoring team. So you can imagine the kind of expertise she brings to the table when two competing organizations agree to work under her leadership. So she does some part of training. Laura has been an amazing volunteer supporter for Adaptive and IIBA. She's also a practicing BA herself. Tom mostly teaches our non-core courses. Sometimes he does take ECBA as well, but mostly he focuses on CBDA, product ownership, because those are his passion, and data is growing really huge. So we do have a new boot camp coming in for the data analytics side. So that's something some of you may consider after getting your CBAP certification. And there is also a product that we have launched called Adaptive Prime. And in that product, you get access to everything that we do, all our live trainings on weekends, all our courses, on the job support, career mentoring, everything is covered as part of that course. So if you go to our website and look for Adaptive Prime, you will get to see that newest product that probably came about 2 weeks back.
And I would like to make a comment, and I think this is a good news for everybody. Yes, we are hyper specialized in IABA products. I mean, by products, intellectual property, yeah, like BABOK, Agile Extension, and others. But the knowledge is universal. I mean, like BABOK contains everything you need to know about business analysis. So when preparing, especially a CBAP on this level, then you can do any other exams. Yeah, you mentioned that Laura was part of the BABOK writing team. I was as well, yeah, in that part. And then Laura was part of PMI, and I was reviewer at PMI. And I can tell you that's the same content in a different structure. Yeah, you cannot invent business analysis. Yeah, it exists for many years. So even if you're studying for IABA course certification, now you will easily get any other certification that you may need and
True.
required by the company, including IREB. IREB is for requirements engineering. Yeah, this is a German certification, and it still has techniques and tasks from business analysis.
True. And I think just one more point here to all of you. There is an exam bundle offer available from IIBA, and that reduces your cost significantly, especially if you're coming from Canada. Sometimes you get about $150 off on the exam bundle. Sometimes it's $85, somewhere between 80 to $150 discount because of the offer given by IIBA. It's not from us, but that offer is given by IIBA. So if you want to take advantage of that offer, you can look at a program what we call Ultimate. The Ultimate product has training plus IIBA exam fees bundled.
Mm-hmm. And so you will see that the offer from Adaptive has a few like levels, from just accessing pre-recorded material to the live session to the mentoring and so on. And of course, you can study on your own. But as Ellen mentioned, if you will be lacking confidence, you can wait 5 years. Yeah, this is because you are doing on your own and you still live your life with your family and with professional projects. By joining a group of people which who has the same goal as you are more motivated. And by joining live sessions like this one, yeah, but in a program, each of the faculty is motivating, inspiring you to continue, not to give up. Yeah. So that's additional value in joining a training session with a live session. Yeah, not pre-recorded one.
Yeah.
And I believe that every trainer is using also practical examples, which in BABOK you cannot find.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We all practice business analysis. So I have been a consultant to many, many organizations around the globe. And I started my business analysis skills, training, and experience way back in 1996. That's almost going to be 30 years very soon. Tom is even more senior than me.
And there are many, many testimonials, and this is just one of them. And on the website, you can see many more. And what I have received as feedback, and when I was tagged in so many LinkedIn posts, is that people appreciate very much this live support. Yeah, of course, the materials, but everything that we have in materials is in BABOK. Yeah, like nothing is invented. Everything is inspired by BABOK. But the live interaction and feedback and answering to the question, this is what is valuable. And speaking about value, there are many, many free resources. Like I haven't seen so many free resources anywhere. So you can have mock questions, which Anne shared already in the chat. I've seen a few links being shared. So this is already have been given to you. Then there are different other sources like free webinars, different plans, BABOK formula. Again, I've seen it being shared. Technique summary. Also seen some links. So go ahead after we finish this webinar and see the links that were shared. Click on them, bookmark them, and you can come back later and see what is inside. And we promised a special offer. Ellen, do you want to explain it?
Yeah, I think those of you who are here today, till 30th of March, apart from everything that we have on offer on website, you can ask for an extra month of access. So our courses are time bound, and it's purposefully time bound. Earlier we used to give infinite time, but then we found people aren't going for the test. So now it's 6 months for some of our courses, 12 months for some of our other courses. But in general, stick to 6 months plan. That's good enough for you. But if you need an extra month, you can request it because you attended this webinar. So that will be coming to you at no additional extension cost.
Okay, and since we're approaching the end, the kind of last, if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. But the last homework you have to do is to send to the universe the idea that you are already certified. You can call it law of attraction, you can call it visualization, you can call it anything you wish, or you can call it fake it until you make it. Yeah, there are many names, but just by pretending that you already are certified, your brain learns it's doable. Yeah, the brain knows that you can do it and you are worth it. Yeah, you are good enough. So those of you who failed, many people fail because they feel like they are not worthy, they are not well prepared, and so on. And part of the success is believing. Yeah, if you believe, you are less stressed. If you believe, you just go there to take it. Yeah, because it's yours. Ellen, maybe you have a final recommendation.
Yeah, maybe the next deck. Is there anything else we are left in the
Yes, we have
slide deck?
one more link. Yes.
Okay, just go ahead with that. Oh, okay. So this is just one sample story that we have put up. And she is one of our past students, maybe about 3, 4 months back, she completed her course. And after she completed her course, she got a new job with 100% hike in salary. There are tons of stories like this. These are people whom you can reach out to them on LinkedIn. Okay, so don't think that these are somebody we created. And students have achieved tremendous results for us. And we are glad that we were part of their success story. And some of them have come back, they have written books for us, they have written publications for us. And we are hoping that we stay connected with our student community for years to come. We are not looking at a transactional relationship with you. Maybe this training is the start point, but stay tuned. We will come up with many new products. I can't disclose it today here, but we are in good discussion with IIBA for another amazing product coming up on top of CBAP, maybe an extension kind of thing. But stay tuned. There's a lot of things happening at Adaptive End, and I wish all of you good luck in your exam. And don't worry, you are in the safest hands. Let me trust you. It's 1,500 students who have gone through our system. It's not 1 to 5. Okay, and so please stay focused, put in your effort. Please prepare to spend 100 to 120 hours over next 4 5 months time frame. You will be certified.
Thank you, everybody. Let's stay connected. Let's think positive. Let's visualize it. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Kruti, for supporting us during the webinar. And I hope to see some of you in our next session. And I hope Victoria also will see some of you in our future sessions. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.